Stocks, by the way, on Wall Street are now closed. The Dow finished up over 1,500 points. The S&P and Nasdaq each hit fresh record highs.
Bank stocks were among the biggest risers. Bitcoin also reached a new record high. The last time the Dow finished up more than 1,000 points in a single day was in November of 2022. Let's go ahead and bring in CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger for more on today's market performance. Jill, good to see you. Why did the market rally behind news of Trump's nomination? What's behind the enthusiasm?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. There is this idea around tax cuts being extended for individuals. We had the Trump tax cuts in 2017. They went into effect in 2018, but they were expected to sunset or go back to where they were before those cuts at the end of next year. And had Harris won, there was a real conversation about tax rates rising for a lot of Americans who earn more than $400,000. And now with the Trump second presidency, it looks like those tax cuts will become enshrined, at least for the foreseeable future. That's a big boost. There's also an idea around regulation. Now, if you've got lax regulation or maybe a somewhat diminished amount of regulation, as President Trump has argued that he would like, then you see certain sectors really benefit. Think about banking sector. Maybe the regulators say you don't have to keep as much cash on hand. Think about also the oil and gas industry. Those are companies that are potentially going to benefit. So I think lower taxes, less regulation, maybe increased growth, that really argues for a stock market resurgence. Now, it's one day, and this could be a week, it could be a month. When these policies actually are in place, alongside perhaps with tariffs that can be inflationary, things can change really quickly.
Jill, it's that last part I wanted to ask you about because Trump's critics throughout the campaign had said that those tariffs and the hikes in tariffs would lead to further inflation. Are we supposed to read into the stock market performance today that those fears are not being seen right now as far as what President Trump will actually put in place once he is back in the White House?
You know, I just have to say, after doing this for a long time, my first job on Wall Street is I was a commodities trader, and sometimes euphoria and emotions gets the best of everyone, forgetting about the algorithms that make the trades. And I think that there is this generalized sense like it's all going to be great. And you know what? Sometimes that first day reaction is spot on, and oftentimes it's not. And we really need to see what the impact of what proposed tariffs would be. Generally speaking, I think it will absolutely shock consumers if there are broad-based tariffs and the price of goods starts to rise more dramatically. And secondarily, if we have strong growth and we do see inflation stick around a little bit longer, that means the Federal Reserve is not going to cut interest rates as aggressively or as quickly as originally thought. So a lot of things at play here. Again, it's a one-day reaction. I hope that people are not trading based on what they think is going to happen. We are going to know what happens. And importantly, if you're a long-term investor, you look through days and weeks, even administrations, and you are long-term in nature. You stick to your game plan. You don't mess around with it, and don't try to pick bottoms or tops.
Jill, the Federal Reserve will issue a decision on interest rates tomorrow. This is after that lackluster jobs report from October. Should Americans expect a cut?
I think that there is likely to be a 1/4 percentage point cut. Maybe they skip December, though, because the December meeting, that's one that could be a little bit live here. I think that most people thought that the Fed would like to do a 1/4 percentage point at a time. Maybe they won't. Maybe they're going to wait to see more data. We'll have to wait and see. Very interested in seeing the Jerome Powell press conference that will come after that decision. You know that all of our colleagues are going to be peppering the Federal Reserve Chair about a lot of things around tariffs, a lot of things around the election, and maybe even his own job, because President-elect Trump has said that he would dump Jerome Powell as the chair of the Federal Reserve at the next chance possible.
Jill Schlesinger, thank you so much for your expertise this afternoon. We appreciate it.